I'll be live. We are 3 minutes from market close. The market is finicky. People are freaking out. We don't really know whether we're going to pump or dump after today. We had the Fed meeting minutes, and the market doesn't know where to go. In today's episode of Market Vibes, we're going to tell you how NVIDIA did in their earnings. There's got to be a couple of people here. So, everybody, welcome to the channel. It's going to be a good day. Let me show you around. Let's just have a look at the market close. Let me know how the sound is, Dragos. I know you're checking it out. So, we still 20 minutes away, like 22 minutes away from the release. So as soon as I have all that data, I'll let you know, and I'll make sure to share all of the expectations that the market is having very soon. All right. So we're gonna go layout, and we're gonna go here. Bam, bam, bam. So market's gross. Well, the S&P 500 is closing pretty sort of green. I mean, tech is up, financials are up. So we are finding some risk on sentiment, and there are buyers here. It's soft. Ooh. I don't think I've changed the settings, but let me have a look. People. All right. So maybe it's this. All right. Maybe I got to be a little bit closer here. Maybe that should help. That should fix it a little bit. There we go. All right. So yeah, it's gonna be very tricky to see what the expectations are. Market selling off into the close, but it's expected. I mean, people are being taking risk off the table for the whole sort of week, and now they're the bets are placed. We will see what comes. NVIDIA today hit 186. Demetrius is in the house. Luis is in the house. Dragos is in the house. Yes, today's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. I have a feeling that they're going to blow it out of the water. I mean, with all of the announcements that we are actually getting, these are tangible companies now. It's not just OpenAI that we're getting deals with. In the last couple of days, Jensen has been very active. So yeah, there we go. There we go. How was your cruise, by the way? Hope that was that went well. All right, market is closed. I sold one contract. I sold one call, 5% up, just in case. It's gonna be tiny, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting day. So market is closed, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets because market's about to get hot. Oh man, but yeah. Oof. Oh, I'm kind of freaking out. I'm not gonna lie here. This man living the dream. Living the dream. You know? Oh man. That's the point. Right now I'm in the middle of work. We just came back from Cyprus, so it wasn't too bad. We did enjoy a little bit of holidays after the trip, but whew. All right. So the S&P 500 is a little bit up after hours. Let's just have a look at how the market is behaving. Nvidia is actually up on this. I'm going to go through a couple of like a little bit of information for everybody to watch. We have still 19 minutes or 18 minutes to go through with this. So I'm just going to share what I know, what I figured out today, and my research, how has been going on. And hopefully this works out. Market's at a very important support level, and Nvidia seems to be the only thing holding it right now. The Max 7 sold off at the end of the market, minimally, I would say. But yeah, we are expecting earnings. We are expecting earnings per share to be $1.26, and we're expecting revenue to come in at $54.9 billion. I do think that if we get those numbers, the market will come down. Expectations are pretty frothy right now, and a lot of people are expecting a lot of returns from NVIDIA. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for the results. Then I'm probably going to stay for the call because I want to see what Jensen has to say. That's where we potentially will see a little bit more volatility, but we're definitely going to see the price move as markets continue to just digest this data. We got the Fed meeting minutes, and I would love to get a day to get an idea of what Dimitri's thinks. But tomorrow's episodes, we're going to be talking about that for sure. So stay tuned. And then, I mean, yeah, I mean, even is there echo? I wonder. Yo, how's the audio? Dragos. Is there echo? It could be. But okay. Hopefully it's okay. I wonder. Dang. But yeah, should have done the test. But again, using Riverside. Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad. All right. So I don't know. My expectations are pretty up. I actually dropped them down a little bit because they looked a little bit too insane. But I'm actually thinking that we're gonna get a beat on earnings per share, and I think earnings could potentially come up. I mean, we're still developing the new sort of the new line of chips, so potentially we could see a drop. But again, the last couple of calls they've said that gross margins should be in the mid 70s. So potentially we see them up. That would be fantastic for the stock. Stock was priced for perfection at 210. At this levels, we could potentially see some weakness, but I don't want to see anything right now, right? Again, the whole market right now is still priced for perfection, so we're just hoping that that's what we get. I think the sell-off that we've been having is just fears, or it's market fears from just not getting clarity in data, right? So it's FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's sort of predominant in the market. We don't have clarity. So that's where I'm at right now, at least. But yeah, we could see potentially, well, today we could see anything. I mean, there's a couple of things I'm paying attention to as well. Revenue expectations, I'm expecting 56 billion. We're potentially going to go higher. And then the important thing after revenue will be guidance and how data center revenue is starting to develop. We can go through the release and see how that differs from the last one as well. But yeah, we're expecting massive beats. I mean, most companies are choosing NVIDIA to kind of develop their data centers. There is a couple of rumors on the fact that even if you were to get the competition's chips for free, the amount of energy and capacity right now is kind of limited. So you want to put the best chips possible. The CEO of Microsoft was talking about the possibility of him not having enough places to put the chips that he already owns, and that's something that I'm really paying attention to this earnings, because we could potentially see any slowdown to demand would be drastic for the stock, because this stock is priced based on its earnings and it's priced based on its future growth of revenues. So any slowdown or any hiccup in supply chains or data center implementation or build out, it's going to be drastic for the stock. Yeah, I mean, market sort of it's flat. I mean, we were all over the place today. It was very euphoric at the start of the day. The market sort of came down. Again, we saw sort of weakness everywhere in the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500, and the Russell. We're pretty much flat. I mean, a 0.5% right now move on the NASDAQ. I don't think it's that major. So something to pay attention to as well. Google hit all-time highs today. The release of Gemini 3 was impressive. I'm not going to lie. I saw the videos yesterday and some of the things that they're coming up with, that they're starting to implement AI in different software, and it's becoming really appealing, right? So we're starting to see the build out from Google. They have a ton of data and a ton of access and a ton of development team. So they have been doing their job and they're catching up. Gemini 3 apparently is extremely good compared to all of the other models. Everybody's coming up with a model every couple of weeks, it seems, but Gemini right now it's ahead. Not only on the LLM models, but in video generation and image generation as well. And we're seeing even 3D physics starting to pick up with their gravity, I think it's called. So yeah, it was warranted today. We saw some selling off. I mean, we are at all-time highs, but if NVIDIA goes well and then the whole sector finds benefits here, so we could see the stock continue to rally. So a lot. Crypto is down under 90K. We had some crazy predictions in the group chat, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, right now the market is risk off. It seems that people are looking for shoot now and ask questions later. Everybody's selling or trying to get out of positions. Everybody's expecting one more rally until the end of the year. I mean, that's kind of scary, but if everybody's expecting a pump just to dump it, we've probably been dumping already, right? So, I mean, cryptos have taken a hit. Alts are very, very low. Bitcoin is sitting at 89. Ethereum broke the 3,000. I mean, today is a very important day just to understand how the market feels on risk on sentiment. Whew. Man, we are 12 minutes away from the data. I just want to make sure that everything is working on my side. I thank God I checked. All right. So I should be getting the data as well. Let's have a look. If any news comes up as well. Yeah, there's also some AI chip news on the potential of exporting licenses. So that also rallied the market at the end right there. I think the discussion started yesterday about the potential of just being able to ship the chips to other countries. So it'll be interesting to see if Jensen sold to China this quarter. Again, there were tensions for the majority of the quarter, and I'm still not sure if they've gotten the licenses to be able to export. I know that AMD, I think they've started. So if NVIDIA has started, that could show in revenue, and that could be pretty impressive. Let's have a look. Meta hitting all-time lows under 600. I don't know. I think it's a buying opportunity. Stock likes to move. The whole AI sector is taking a hit. Something to pay attention to. That's for sure. The Max 7. I mean, not all they're not all created equal right now. So, yeah. And then let's have a look here. Lowe's was up today, and Home Depot was down yesterday for reals, like apparently reduced sales on their lineup. So it was interesting. It was interesting that Lowe's is up and Home Depot was down yesterday. Some in and out, nothing too major. We had the Fed. So yeah, expected it's actually 55 point something. Have a look real quick. Let me just get that data. Why is it 50? Why did you tell me 54? Weird. I'll double check that out someplace else. But yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, right now the market is tilting towards the fact that we're not going to get a cut in December. I think this is wrong. Market's kind of getting ahead of itself. We're just not getting any data. So, we are assuming that the Fed has not made changes, but we know that the job market is getting worse. So, potentially that could shape up the Fed for a cut still. Again, it's still 33%, so it's massive. US dollar was up today, which was an interesting development because the dollar has been coming down for a little while, and then it's for the last couple of days been up. So people are looking for safety, but I've got people talking on my ear. It's crazy. Okay. But yeah, we saw the dollar come up, and then we saw treasuries also treasury yields go up. Something to pay attention to, because if we were looking for safety, we would see bond yields actually go down, but we're not seeing that. So maybe we've touched a potential short-term bottom here. I'm hoping we do. Many investors on Etoro are. Yeah, and oil was down today, which was impressive too. So, I mean, we are 7 minutes away from the release. Man, you're not freaking out. You're freaking out. I'm not freaking out. It is my biggest position. So, we're writing this one with the markets. By the way, everything I say is no financial advice. Make sure to check out our portfolios down below. And we're going live tomorrow to give you a full detailed breakdown of what's going on and what's happening. But we'll see the move. I don't know if you guys want the heat map of NVIDIA or you prefer like the charts. I'm assuming you prefer the charts. Most likely you prefer the charts. So here we have NVIDIA, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. We're just going to see how it, like sort of the market reaction and see how it performs. Whew, man. So when it's a big one, I'm going to put my jacket. It's jacket time. It's jacket time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's jacket time. So now the jacket time, Jensen will perform. You know, tried to change the jacket last time and it was bad. Woo! Like, okay, yeah. A couple of the rumors just before, right? So there's a couple of more minutes before we have the release. A couple of the rumors is so we have the Microsoft rumors. We had the media tour. There's been a lot of media tour around the NVIDIA earnings, which usually you don't get, right? Like you don't get Jensen speaking just before the earnings. And he spoke with Elon Musk today. And I've been paying close attention. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know it. All right. So yeah. Um like right, like I don't know, the media tour has been kind of odd. I mean, I guess they want to sort of like hype the deals that they're getting and to make sure that they share the information with everybody. So I could see it. I mean, it could be good, right? It's cold. It's cold in the UK today. So I'm actually kind of glad. At 55.1. I think $55.1 billion worth of revenue. So I'm going to try to shout it out here in my ear. Stay frosty with it. But yes. Whew. The implied move of the stock is expected to be 6% to the upside or the downside. So we are expecting, what was it? So it's like a 12, yeah, 6.5% move. So, right. So we could expect NVIDIA to touch 6.5% is high 200s. So we could go to the 200s or we could come down drastically to the 170s. Oh my God, that would be crazy. 175. So that's sort of that's so nuts. That'd be crazy. So yeah, it's a 6.5% move. It's a lot of money for NVIDIA. I think it's like, what would that be? So it's 5 times point. So that's what, $300 billion worth of move. Right. But the thing is just like it's so potentially it's like maybe their earnings are not good, but then guidance is strong, right? So this is something that has me scared, right? You know, because I wonder what they're going to say about China revenue, what they have to say about supply chains, what they have to say about all the other things. So, whew. Are you ready for this? All right, we're 3 minutes away. 3 minutes away. So again, expected earnings per share is supposed to be 1.25, 1.26. And guidance is supposed to be, at least Wall Street expectations is $55.1 billion. I'm expecting more. I'm expecting more. Woo-hoo. Oh. Huh. Japanese yen is falling against the dollar, apparently. Just to pay attention. Ooh. I like the market. It's behaving. It's nice. NVIDIA is finding a footing. I like it. Oh, no. All right, let me have a look. We should go to the 1 minute. No. Have a look at how it goes. But we're going to see this move drastically, right? So, woohoo! I got one, like Jensen, just give me a crazy beat. We'll figure out the details later. Just give me a crazy beat. Let's not crash the markets today. Let's just have some fun with it. Whew. We're gonna see this move really quick, right? So I'm gonna pay attention to for sure. Oh, we're a minute away. All right, let's get the show on the road, people. Let's get the show on the road. If I'm not paying attention, it's because I'm trying to trade my way out of this, or I'm trying to trade my way into this. So we'll see. Ah! NVIDIA sitting at 186.4. Let the show begin. Whew, 15 seconds. Whew. Oh, wait until good results. Otherwise, I have to pay attention. Let's go. $1.30. Gaming revenue, I don't care about. $57 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit it out of the park. Let's freaking go. 57 billion. It even broke my expectations. Let's freaking go. Ah! Whoop, whoop. He said it was going to be a crazy beat. He said it was going to be a crazy beat. The jacket is well deserved, ladies and gents. Oh my goodness. Bam! Woo! Let's freaking go! Woo! Ah, man, insanity. Sorry for the shouting, ladies and gents, but that's an amazing beat. We were expecting 56 billion, and that was a $56.7 billion revenue beat with 1.3 on the dot. My expectations were on fire. There we go. No, that's a beat. Let's go. Margin 75%. We went up on the margin. Let's freaking go. These are fantastic results for NVIDIA. The bull market continues. Ladies and gentlemen, let the bulls out. Boom. Cloud GPUs are sold out. Let's freaking go. Woo. Potentially, we could see some selling off. Nothing to worry about. Market's going to love this. Oh, my goodness. I hedged a little bit just in case. And I'm kind of glad I did. You know, it's going to, it was a small hedge. But, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Let's freaking go. Stock is not stopping. We're about to hit 200 potentially by the end of today. Now, we need to go and try to get the data. So we're going to go to NVIDIA Investor Relations. And let's freaking go. Now, the benefit is, well, forecast. Well, that's something that's going to be very interesting too. Because I'll get the news and I'll give it. So earnings per share, $1.30, and revenue was 57, 2 billion B. I wonder if there's any China revenue here, because if there's no China revenue still. All right, let me go here. Let's freaking go! Ah! Mimi's gonna wake up, and holy, it's a good day. It's a good day to be an NVIDIA investor. Ladies and gentlemen, Jensen delivers again. Whoo! This is bullish. This is extremely bullish for the AI. Well, we'll see. Ooh. I want to see if there's any bad news. The thing is like, if it was like Elon on the media tour, if it was anybody else, I'd be like, hey. But it's Jensen, best employee I've ever had. All right, let's get the data. I'm not done. Dragos, chill. I know. I want to so bad. So yes, so the China sales of the H20 still held. So that is China's not included, which should be another 55 billion. It'll be interesting to see what demand would be if they were to increase. Because right now we have the sort of like the China government is also affecting the buying of these chips, right? You're getting them in the black market, I'm sure, but well, you don't want to say that. You don't want to get banned by. Let's freaking go! Ah! Oh my goodness, man. Ah. Oh, okay. So yeah, we are seeing a little bit of a sell-off here. We saw massive volume come in. We are seeing the traders sort of move back. The question is will we pair the gains from this? Obviously, the call is very important. We'll have to see what NVIDIA has to say on it. NASDAQ, a little bit up after, but nothing. I mean, yeah, we're up, and the NASDAQ is up and the S&P is up, but we're giving a little bit of it back. That is okay. Traders have to trade, and that's fantastic. It's the post market, so price volatility would be here, but this cements sort of the calmness of the markets. We are seeing the increased demand. We are seeing the risk on sentiment, and the chip sales continue, ladies and gentlemen. Woo-hoo! All right. All right, let me have a look here. Financial information. This is going to take a while. I don't even know if I can. Let me try to get the data. Okay, so come on, give me the data. It takes forever. Let me close it here. Whew, my goodness. Yeah, if we go to the minute, like it was just sentiment, just bam. Now we could give it back. We could give some of it back here, eh? Because the expectations were good, but this is really good. 57 billion is really good. Because 57 billion, funny enough, it's like it means that revenue is growing. Like it's like the rate of increase year on year is actually increasing based on this estimate. So it's like we're now going back. Yeah, like we're continuing to go back up instead of coming back down. So this is like we're ramping up. Oh my god, man. All right, let me have a look here. I'm trying to get the financial information here. Q3, we're going to try to get. Man. Let me have a look at the news. We're going to have to go. All right, so the press release. Let's have a look here real quick. I'll bring it up to you guys. Okay, so record revenue of 57 billion, up 22% from Q2 and up 62% from a year ago. Data center revenue is 51.2 billion, 25% up from Q2 and 66 from a year ago. So we're not slowing down anytime soon. Let's freaking go. Oh man, so good. All right, so pretty. 57 billion. It's such a massive jump. Like it's $10 billion per quarter. That's a four. Like it's like if we continue into the year end, that's another 10, potentially 10, like two more. Because I'll show you the numbers. And it's okay. So outlook revenue is expected to be 65 billion plus or minus 2%, and they're gonna beat again. So that's probably 66 to 67 billion of revenue. We're seeing gross margins potentially stay steady but we're talking about the same range, which is fantastic. Operating expenses, 6.7 billion. This company just prints money. Oh my God. Then we go into, oh man. And like we're not even talking about the possibility of all the things that they're like investing in right now. So that's potentially additional earnings and revenue that we could see down the line, I think. This is so crazy. All right. So data center, third quarter revenue. Whoa, insane. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. Oh man. Partner with industry leaders like Google, Microsoft, Oracle, and XAI. It's like this is like these two names right here. I have full trust in, right? Microsoft and Google. So this is not just revenue that just gets put in out of the water. It's actually big names. We're seeing the Anthropic deal that was announced today. That was announced a couple of days ago, and then the OpenAI with Elon and the Saudis, a deal got announced today as well. So we're seeing supercomputers being built. The American supercomputer, I think there's like 4 that are being built out as well. So collaboration with Intel, we knew this. So reveal plans to accelerate 7 new supercomputers with the U.S. Department. Sorry, it wasn't 4, it was 7. Featuring 100,000 Blackwell GPUs, plus another system, Equinox, featuring 10,000 Blackwell GPUs. Let's freaking go. Blackwell is being produced in America, the TSMC factory in Arizona. Fantastic news. Now, this is interesting because this is like the next line of GPUs. So let's freaking go. This is fantastic news. I am so thrilled. Oh, ah. I am so thrilled. I mean, right now, what NVIDIA is sitting at? Let's just double check the price, make sure it's finding a footing around 191. But again, we could potentially see like this revamps sort of the AI story, right? And it creates. So it'll be very interesting to see what Jensen has to say. Let's freaking go, man! Holy, woo! It's been a tough couple of weeks, that's for sure. That is for sure. I know that everybody's been freaking out, but man, has it paid off to be an NVIDIA investor. Holy. I read Iran. I was like, what? But yeah. And the thing is just like, so it's interesting because if you get to see the GTC of NVIDIA, which is it was fantastic, by the way. Definitely recommend watching it. It's on their YouTube channel. It's like an hour and 45 minutes, but definitely worth the watch. You can actually see the other side of the stack and the partners that NVIDIA is working with. People like Vertiv, GE Vernova, all of these different names that are like part of the build out. So if you're looking for investment opportunities, NVIDIA is giving you the answer. Let's freaking go, man. Holy. All right. Gaming is up. Oh, wait, no. Down from the previous quarter. You know, was like something that had scared me into this earnings, and I'm kind of glad it didn't sort of like materialize, but it was the fact that GPUs have not increased in price like RAM and storage and like hard drives in the gaming PC part. We are seeing like major increases in the rest of the stack in the build out, but GPUs and NVIDIA chips are sort of staying steady. So personal visualization 760 million, 26% up. Now, this is super interesting because if you're looking for a Tesla competitor, right here, NVIDIA is a Tesla competitor, right? Oh man, they partnered with Uber. There was G6, I think G5, G6 network they were talking about also. Amazon Robotics, Agility Robotics, Caterpillar, Foxconn, Lucid. Like you see, it's like everybody's trying to figure out this problem, right? So it's like we still have not seen the. Oh man, let's freaking go! Ah, I'm super excited. Okay, Woo-hoo. Man. But yeah, I mean, like deals with everyone, and it's like, yeah, like I understand, but it's like there is sort of like a bubble, right, by the big hyperscalers, but it's like they're making deals with everybody, right? So the question is like, do you want to be part of the monopoly? Which is crazy to say because it's like monopoly should be bad for the economy, but I mean, if you're the owner of the monopoly, it's bam. Oh man. Like we're just not seeing a slowdown in revenue. We're not seeing a slowdown in earnings per share. So it's like, what did they canceled? What order did it have on? Even in AMD's up? No. Bam! Nvidia's up. Nvidia's up 4%, and then the rest of the chips taking benefit. It's time for yes. It's time for a whiskey for sure. Yes. Now the question is, what do I want to drink? I want to drink some good. You know what? I'm gonna drink the Etoro. You know, this was the Etoro Diamond event. They invited me. Thank you very much. Somebody in Etoro likes me, I think. So shout out to you. I think it's Naomi, but maybe not. So if you want to invite me to any other shows, I'm more than happy to go. Or like events. Super happy to go. I need to get a glass because those glasses have definitely have dust. And my house renovation partly finishes tomorrow, which is insane. 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 Oh my goodness. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for a whiskey, my friends. It is time. It is time, everybody. It is time. As for those who don't know, I have a Scotch and Stocks channel, which I'm not live on Scotch and Stocks today. I'm only on Market Bus today. Woo! Let's freaking go. Like it's pretty nuts, right? Holy. All right. You know what? Let's try this so you can see me a bit better. Holy. I'll have a little bit, and then I have to sign up for the call. The call's at 10, no? Yeah. All right. So yeah. It's a good day to be an NVIDIA investor, that's for sure. Let's freaking go. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Just one. Oh, yeah, hear that out. Check this out. Check this out. Check this out. Oh man. And then tomorrow we have non-farm payrolls. So that's gonna be that. I just got some data here. So this is what we can expect for here we go. This is what we can expect for tomorrow's non-farm payrolls. Toby, if you're watching, cheers. That's for you. By the way, if you don't know about Financial Juice, I'm not a sponsored or anything, but they're great. And yeah, check out their website, financialjuice.com. I'm not affiliate. I don't make any money. I just enjoy the product. They're great. So yeah. So yeah. Speaker House. Let's freaking go. Cheers, everybody. It has been a pleasure. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for having me. Oh, that's nice. Where's this from? It's got to be Scottish, right? I mean, I wouldn't. Whoa. Damn. All right. Oh, for sure. For sure. But it's a good day. It's a good day. Today is a good day to be an NVIDIA investor. That's for sure. But yeah, Luis. Cheers. Cheers. Holy, finish the day. I'm glad it's done. Well, it's not done. I still have to work, but I'll take it. I'll take a sip. It's been stressful. It's been stressful and a half trying to predict this. And there's rumors on both sides of the equation. There's been rumors on both sides of the equation. So, like, we knew we were gonna beat. I didn't think we knew we were gonna be this bad, right? Like this good. So, we're up. I think 6% on this. Eh? Let's have a look here. Bam. Yeah, we're up. No, wait. Only 3%. What? Oh, but we're 3% on the day already. So, cheers, everybody. Ooh, that's a strong whiskey. That's nice. Ooh. Not bad. Not bad. Good whiskey. Oh my goodness. It is the truth. So even the Nasdaq and the S&P are finding a footing. So let's have a look at the Nasdaq here. Yeah, we can see that it's translating to like the semiconductor stocks. Oh man. A pretty big jump. And we're seeing Marble find a footing. Interesting because Marble took a massive hit. So, but again, not financial advice, but Marble took a massive hit, and we're seeing them potentially boom. But I think they're losing money right now. So that's why. Let's have a look at the Russell. Ooh, semiconductors are finding a footing. All right. So the thing about options is tricky, but yes, you probably are going to see a pump, right? Because the thing is like because you have your expiry a little bit further away, you're not going to get that much time decay, right? Obviously, you're going to lose the implied volatility because there's no catalyst event, even though there's a catalyst event tomorrow with the non-farm payrolls. So potentially you could see it here. Let me show it on stream here. So yeah, you potentially see a gain. The question is like what happens with the price tomorrow? Because like it still has room to run. So early on, you're potentially going to see like a big spread, and it's probably going to balance out, but you potentially see a win here, I think, in my opinion. By the way, how is the mic? Because I touched the cable, and every time I touch the cable, it messes up. But yeah. By the way, no financial advice. I don't know what the market's going to do, but I think yes, right? Because it's a big move, right? So we're going like if you bought it, let's say you bought it somewhere around this price area, we're talking about like almost a 6% move, depending on where you bought it. So potentially, yeah. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. You got to give like options. You got to give them room to run. That's for sure. Well, enjoy. Like it's like I think it's good, right? Like, okay, good, nice. So yeah, I would say, yeah, let them run. The thing is like obviously, like the question is like what would the market do tomorrow, right? And because we have another catalyst, we have non-farm payrolls tomorrow, right? And this is for September data, so I don't know how much the market is going to move on this. Right, we are expecting weaker data, and this would like entice the Fed to go down. I don't think we're getting October data, so any sort of negative news could be positive for the markets tomorrow. All right, so you bought one 550, 514. Okay, I have the numbers. Yeah, well, look. So December, you still have 16 days, right? So NVIDIA. Let me have a look. So you said 205 for December 5th. Yeah, you see it go up for sure. Yeah, you'll see it go up for sure. Like the question is how much, and the thing is the question is how do you get out of the trade, right? You paid 5. Why you pay 5? No way. What price you saying? Let me have a look at the chat. You paid contract for 514. Why you pay 5 for 205? Why you pay 5? Oh my god. Okay. So you paid 5. Okay. So if you paid 5, you might have bought expensive. Okay. So that changes things a little bit, right? Because so 205, we are how much out of the money? So we are about $10 out of the money. Maybe momentum helps you out and gets you over. But you're up from today, which sometimes wait. At 514 is going to be a bit tricky. 514 is going to be a bit tricky. 514 is going to be a bit tricky. Because the thing is like you still have to get to your strike price. And the thing is if it's 205, your break even is going to be 210. So you're far away. You're far away. You're going to see it go up from today. I don't know if you're going to see it go up past break even unless the price continues to rally, which is my expectation. Because the thing is I'm expecting a rate cut in December, even if the jobs data in September is good, because the October data was not good, right? So, yeah, tricky. Because, yeah, this makes it tricky, right? If you bought it for 514, makes it tricky. But, yeah, keep them coming. More than happy to answer them. I want to give advice, but I can't. Because I would be like, if you're looking for volatility, right? And the thing is just like you can buy 1 or 2 contracts depending what you're looking for. Do you want to buy the stocks, right? It's like it's right. Like there was a recommendation today to oh my god. Oh, let's freaking go. Okay. I need to answer my people. I'm in the middle of like 5 different conversations. So yeah, Daniel. I mean, yes. Like, it's going to be tricky. But again, if we continue to see now, like let's call this the bottom, and then we go into risk on sentiment, we found a floor, and then all of a sudden we get that buying momentum, potentially the stock could hit 210. So that's the thing. So, okay, that's the thing. So so my expected price for NVIDIA right now is sitting like my fair value for NVIDIA right now was sitting at 180, like 180 to 190. Right. Obviously, this is going to create euphoria. The thing is like the big question goes down to is the market going to believe this and continue the narrative that we are like this breaks away any sort of fears on the AI boom? Or does this sort of like start the collapse because it's like they just continue to spend like crazy, they're going nuts, blah blah blah, right? So we could see it. The thing is like because you have 16 days, it's very difficult to say what in the next 16 days the stock's going to do. I'm bullish on the stock, but right now I don't have any NVIDIA calls because I don't know what the expectations are, right? Because if you're buying pre-earnings, you're paying a lot of implied volatility, right? Because you're paying for that implied volatility. So yeah. So that's where it gets tricky. The thing is could we see NVIDIA pass 215, 220 by the end of the year? Sure, right? Like we still see growth, revenue, all of these different things, but there's a lot of macro things that could dampen the stock price. So it's a lot of volatility. So that was another thing I wanted to pay attention to because, like, it's like, for example, okay, you know what? Let me have a look here. So financials, right? So if we go to the quarterly data, right? Like we were expecting. Okay, so that's so crazy. So it's like we're starting to. It's so good. The numbers are so good. Right. So we were expecting 54. We got 57. Right. And then it's like we're expecting 65. So the growth is increasing. So yes, right. Like we potentially see NVIDIA go high, right? Like I want it. You know what I mean? But the thing is NVIDIA is high already. The thing is just like, for example, earnings per share right now. Oh, I need to run the numbers because 130T wouldn't change the numbers too crazily, but it would affect it for sure. And then forward earnings, what would that be, right? Because we're expecting gross profit to be 75%, which it's already back at the 75 that they were promising at, which is fantastic news. We could potentially see the earnings growth and the multipliers go up on NVIDIA, right? So it's growing into the valuation, it's doing fantastic, right? We are seeing the demand, we are seeing all the deals. In the call, we'll get a little, man, the call. My ADD drives me crazy. All right, let me get the call on here. How am I gonna share the call? Because I've never done it. Let me try something. All right, let me try something here. All right. Oh, okay. So I was sharing the audio. Okay. So that was a problem. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to have to share the screen, and I'm going to also share the audio of the screen. And then I'm going to have to go here. So I should be sharing now this, which if I go here, I'm going to be able to. By the way, if you enjoyed the podcast, or if you're enjoying the episode, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the portfolios down below. And if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. More than happy to answer them. I was gonna do something. The webcast. We go to the webcast. We'll listen to what they have to say. Press releases. All right, let me log in. Eminem cap. And then wait. All right, so there we go. I'll bring it back. Bam. So yeah. Awesome, dude. Let's freaking go. Oh man. Whew. It's going good. It's going good, guys. Yo, by the way, thank you so much, everybody. We hit 500 subscribers, which was great. You know, slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. It's the whole team. Thanks the whole team too. You know, and Etoro as well, and you guys, MVPs. Share this with my people. Now I'm doing like a bunch of different work. Whoopa, whoopa, whoopa. Let me have a look at. All my messages are gonna show. Really? I don't want that. Let me actually go do this. Let me stop sharing. Let me put it here, and I'll share the screen at the top. Ooh. By the way, keep me posted and let me know if the audio will sound. Actually, can you hear the audio? I'm gonna be here. I need to listen to this. This is my biggest position. I'm gonna be here. Don't worry. Woo! That's awesome. Listen to this. Yeah, I'll wait. I don't want to listen. Oh my god. I sold Google. I sold like I de-risked a little, like not a lot. Like I de-risked 2% of my portfolio into this. I was like, just a little bit of cash, just a little bit of cash. Oh, hopefully, because then China wakes up, then the Europe wakes up, and then they pump it, right? So this is how it works. And then we get the news cycle because everybody's waiting on this. So everybody's gonna be like, there's gonna be a news story everywhere. All right, so we are 5 minutes away from the call. Some of the things we want to hear on the call. Jensen saying that everything will be okay and that AI is going to be like a million times X, which will be fantastic. And yeah, let me have a look. Is this better? Nope. That's better. I was never worried. Never worried. Oh, there. Whew. We are 3 minutes away. I want to do this for Etoro earnings. I would have loved to do this for Etoro earnings, but I still don't know what are the implications of us covering Etoro. So, by the way, also let me know in the comments what earnings you like, and then I'll talk to the people that are like potentially good at them, and I want to bring them into the fold, and I want to have like episodes where I talk about different companies and different things. Even Bitcoin is up, even Ethereum is up. Let's have a look at. Fire. Oh man. So we are 2 minutes away. I'll have a look at. Yeah, like look at that move. Like it was insane. Just how sharp it was to the upside. Like even the Nasdaq jumped. All right, so here's the data. I'll share it with my people. Oh my god. So I'll share it and then we go up, bam. 205 is tricky. The thing was like, the move was so expensive on that option trade. And the thing is you bought early too, because it kept going down. So then the thing there, you have to continue to buy contracts as it's coming down in price. Because like we kept going to 180, and at every single level 180, we just kept buying it, bam, bam, bam. But there were no buyers. But this makes people buy the stock. Even TSM is up 4%. Robinhood is up 7%. This is risk on sentiment if I've ever seen one. It'll be interesting to see if that continues until tomorrow, but it feels like risk on. It feels like risk on. All right. All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to NVIDIA's third quarter earnings call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press star 1 again. Thank you. Toshiya Hari, you may begin your conference.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NVIDIA's conference call for the third quarter of fiscal 2026. With me today from NVIDIA are Jensen Huang, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Colette Kress, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. I'd like to remind you that our call is being webcast live on NVIDIA's Investor Relations website. The webcast will be available for replay until the conference call to discuss our financial results for the fourth quarter of fiscal 2026. The content of today's call is NVIDIA's property. It can't be reproduced or transcribed without our prior written consent. During this call, we may make forward-looking statements based on current expectations. These are subject to a number of significant risks and uncertainties, and our actual results may differ materially. For a discussion of factors that could affect our future financial results and business, please refer to the disclosure in today's earnings release, our most recent Forms 10-K and 10-Q, and the reports that we may file on Form 8-K with the Securities and Exchange Commission. All our statements are made as of today, November 19th, 2025, based on information currently available to us. Except as required by law, we assume no obligation to update any such statements. During this call, we will discuss non-GAAP financial measures. You can find a reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial measures to GAAP financial measures in our CFO commentary, which is posted on our website. With that, let me turn the call over to Colette.
Thank you, Toshiya. We delivered another outstanding quarter with revenue of $57 billion, up 62% year over year, and a record sequential revenue growth of $10 billion, or 22%. Our customers continue to lean into 3 platform shifts, fueling exponential growth for accelerated computing, powerful AI models, and agentic applications. Yet we are still in the early innings of these transitions that will impact our work across every industry. We currently have visibility to $500 billion in Blackwell and Rubin revenue from the start of this year through the end of calendar year 2026. By executing our annual product cadence and extending our performance leadership through full stack design, we believe NVIDIA will be the superior choice for the $3 to $4 trillion in annual AI infrastructure build we estimate by the end of the decade. Demand for AI infrastructure continues to exceed our expectations. The clouds are sold out, and our GPU installed base, both new and previous generations, including Blackwell, Hopper, and Ampere, is fully utilized. Record Q3 data center revenue of $51 billion increased 66% year over year, a significant feat at our scale. Compute grew 56% year over year, driven primarily by the GB300 ramp, while networking more than doubled, given the onset of NVLink scale-up and robust double-digit growth across Spectrum X Ethernet and Quantum X InfiniBand. The world hyperscalers, a $1 trillion industry, are transforming search, recommendations, and content understanding from classical machine learning to generative AI. NVIDIA CUDA excels at both and is the ideal platform for this transition, driving infrastructure investment measured in hundreds of billions of dollars. At Meta, AI recommendation systems are delivering higher quality and more relevant content, leading to more time spent on apps such as Facebook and Threads. Analyst expectations for the top CSPs and hyperscalers in 2026 aggregate CapEx have continued to increase and now sit roughly at $600 billion, more than $200 billion higher relative to the start of the year. We see the transition to accelerated computing and generative AI across current hyperscale workloads contributing toward roughly half of our long-term opportunity. Another growth pillar is the ongoing increase in compute spend driven by foundation model builders such as Anthropic, Mistral, OpenAI, Reflection, Safe Superintelligence, Thinking Machines Lab, and xAI, all scaling compute aggressively to scale intelligence. The three scaling laws, pre-training, post-training, and inference, remain intact. In fact, we see a positive virtuous cycle emerging whereby the three scaling laws and access to compute are generating better intelligence and in turn increasing adoption and profits. OpenAI recently shared that their weekly user base has grown to 800 million.
Hubei
Enterprise
Highway
customers
Electronic
has
New
increased
Material
to 1
Technology
million,
global offering of
and that their gross
30.8 million
margins
shares.
were healthy. Well, Anthropic recently reported that its annualized run rate revenue has reached $7 billion as of last month, up from $1 billion at the start of the year. We are also witnessing a proliferation of agentic AI across various industries and tasks. Companies such as Cursor, Anthropic, Open Evidence, Epic, and Abridge are experiencing a surge in user growth as they supercharge the existing workforce, delivering unquestionable ROI for coders and healthcare professionals. The world's most important enterprise software platforms like ServiceNow, CrowdStrike, and SAP are integrating NVIDIA's accelerated computing and AI stack. Our new partner, Palantir, is supercharging the incredibly popular ontology platform with NVIDIA CUDA-X libraries and AI models for the first time. Previously, like most enterprise software platforms, ontology runs only on CPUs. Lowe's is leveraging the platform to build supply chain agility, reducing costs and improving customer satisfaction. Enterprises broadly are leveraging AI to boost productivity. increase efficiency, and reduce cost. RBC is leveraging agentic AI to drive significant analyst productivity, slashing report generation time from hours to minutes. AI and digital twins are helping Unilever accelerate content creation by 2x and cut costs by 50%. And Salesforce's engineering team has seen at least 30% productivity increase in new code development after adopting Cursor. This past quarter, we announced AI factory and infrastructure projects amounting to an aggregate of 5 million GPUs. This demand spans every market: CSPs, sovereigns, model builders, enterprises, and supercomputing centers, and includes multiple landmark buildouts. xAI's Colossus II, the world's first gigawatt-scale data center. Lilly's AI factory for drug discovery, the pharmaceutical industry's most powerful data center. And just today, AWS and Humane expanded their partnership, including the deployment of up to 150,000 AI accelerators, including our GB300. xAI and Humane also announced a partnership in which the two will jointly develop a network of world-class GPU data centers anchored by the flagship 500 megawatt facility. Blackwell gained further momentum in Q3 as GB300 crossed over GB200 and contributed roughly 2/3 of the total Blackwell revenue. The transition to GB300 has been seamless, with production shipments to the major cloud service providers, hyperscalers, and GPU clouds, and is already driving their growth. The Hopper platform, in its 13th quarter since inception, recorded approximately $2 billion in revenue in Q3. H20 sales were approximately $50 million. Sizable purchase orders never materialized in the quarter due to geopolitical issues and the increasingly competitive market in China. While we were disappointed in the current state that prevents us from shipping more competitive data center compute products to China, we are committed to continued engagement with the US and China governments, and will continue to advocate for America's ability to compete around the world. To establish a sustainable leadership position in AI computing, America must win the support of every developer and be the platform of choice for every commercial business, including those in China. The Rubin platform is on track to ramp in the second half of 2026. Powered by 7 chips, the Vera Rubin platform will once again deliver an X-factor improvement in performance relative to Blackwell. We have received silicon back from our supply chain partners and are happy to report that NVIDIA teams across the world are executing the bring up beautifully.
Let's go.
Rubin is our 3rd generation rack scale system, substantially redefined the manufacturability while remaining compatible with Grace Blackwell. Our supply chain, data center ecosystem, and cloud partners have now mastered the build to installation process of NVIDIA's rack architecture. Our ecosystem will be ready for a fast Rubin ramp. Our annual X-factor performance leap increases performance per dollar while driving down computing costs for our customers. The long useful life of NVIDIA's CUDA GPUs is a significant TCO advantage over accelerators. CUDA's compatibility and our massive installed base extend the life of NVIDIA systems well beyond their original estimated useful life. For more than 2 decades, we have optimized the CUDA ecosystem, improving existing workloads, accelerating new ones, and increasing throughput with every software release. Most accelerators without CUDA and NVIDIA's time-tested and versatile architecture became obsolete within a few years as model technologies evolve. Thanks to CUDA, the A100 GPUs we shipped 6 years ago are still running at full utilization today. powered by vastly improved software stack. We have evolved over the past 25 years from a gaming GPU company to now an AI data center infrastructure company. Our ability to innovate across the CPU, the GPU, networking, and software, and ultimately drive down cost per token is unmatched across the industry.
True.
Our networking business, purpose-built for AI, and now the largest in the world, generated revenue of $8.2 billion, up 162% year over year, with NVLink, InfiniBand, and Spectrum-X Ethernet all contributing to growth. We are winning in data center networking as the majority of AI deployments now include our switches with Ethernet GPU attach rates roughly on par with InfiniBand. Meta, Microsoft, Oracle, and xAI are building gigawatt AI factories with Spectrum-X Ethernet switches, and each will run its operating system of choice, highlighting the flexibility and openness of our platform. We recently introduced Spectrum XGS, a scale-across technology that enables gigascale AI factories. NVIDIA is the only company with AI scale-up, scale-out, and scale-across platforms, reinforcing our unique position in the market as the AI infrastructure provider. Customer interest in NVLink Fusion continues to grow. We announced a strategic collaboration with Fujitsu in October, where we will integrate Fujitsu's CPUs and NVIDIA GPUs via NVLink Fusion, connecting our large ecosystems. We also announced a collaboration with Intel to develop multiple generations of custom data center and PC products, connecting NVIDIA and Intel's ecosystems using NVLink. This week at Supercomputing 25, ARM announced that it will be integrating NVLink IP for customers to build CPU SoCs that connect with NVIDIA. Currently on its 5th generation, NVLink is the only proven scale-up technology available on the market today. In the latest MLPerf training results, Blackwell Ultra delivered 5x faster time to train than Hopper. NVIDIA swept every benchmark. Notably, NVIDIA is the only training platform to leverage FP4 while meeting the MLPerf's strict accuracy standards. In semi-analysis inference max benchmark, Blackwell achieved the highest performance and lowest total cost of ownership across every model and use case. Particularly important is Blackwell's NVLink's performance on a mixture of experts, the architecture for the world's most popular reasoning models. On DeepSeek R1, Blackwell delivered 10x higher performance per watt and 10x lower cost per token versus H200, a huge generational leap fueled by our extreme co-design approach. NVIDIA Dynamo, an open source, low latency modular inference framework, has now been adopted by every major cloud service provider. Leveraging Dynamo's enablement and disaggregated inference, the resulting increase in performance of complex AI models such as MOE models, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and OCI have boosted AI inference performance for enterprise cloud customers. We are working on a strategic partnership with OpenAI, focused on helping them build and deploy at least 10 gigawatts of AI data centers. In addition, we have the opportunity to invest in the company. We serve OpenAI through their cloud partners, Microsoft Azure, OCI, and CoreWeave. We will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. As they continue to scale, we are delighted to support the company to add self-build infrastructure, and we are working toward a definitive agreement and are excited to support OpenAI's growth. Yesterday, we celebrated an announcement with Anthropic. For the first time, Anthropic is adopting NVIDIA, and we are establishing a deep technology partnership
hello.
to support Anthropic's fast growth. We will collaborate to optimize Anthropic models for CUDA and deliver the best possible performance, efficiency, and TCO. We will also optimize future NVIDIA architectures for Anthropic workloads. Anthropic's compute commitment is initially including up to 1 gigawatt of compute capacity with Grace Blackwell and Vera Rubin systems. Our strategic investments in Anthropic, Mistral, OpenAI, Reflection, Thinking Machines, and other represent partnerships that grow the NVIDIA CUDA AI ecosystem and enable every model to run optimally on NVIDIA's everywhere. We will continue to invest strategically while preserving our disciplined approach to cash flow management. Physical AI is already a multi-billion-dollar business addressing a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity and the next leg of growth for NVIDIA. Leading US manufacturers and robotics innovators are leveraging NVIDIA's 3-computer architecture to train on NVIDIA, test on Omniverse computer, and deploy real-world AI on Jetson robotic computers. PTC and Siemens introduced new services that bring Omniverse-powered digital twin workflows to their extensive installed base of customers. Companies including Belden, Caterpillar, Foxconn, Lucid Motors, Toyota,
It's very cool what they're
TSMC,
doing
and Wistron
with
are building Omniverse digital twin factories to accelerate AI-driven manufacturing and automation. Agility Robotics, Amazon Robotics, Figure, and Skilled at AI are building our platform, tapping offerings such as NVIDIA Cosmos World Foundation models for development, Omniverse for simulation and validation, and Jetson to power next-generation intelligent robots. We remain focused on building resiliency and redundancy in our global supply chain. Last month, in partnership with TSMC, we celebrated the first Blackwell wafer produced on US soil. We will continue to work with Foxconn, Wistron, Amkor, Spill, and others to grow our presence in the US over the next 4 years. Gaming revenue was $4.3 billion, up 30% year on year, driven by strong demand as Blackwell momentum continued. End market sell-through remains robust, and channel inventories are at normal levels heading into the holiday season. Steam recently broke its concurrent user record with 42 million gamers, while thousands of fans packed the GeForce Gamer Festival in South Korea to celebrate 25 years of GeForce. NVIDIA Pro Visualization has evolved into computers for engineers and developers, whether for graphics or for AI. Professional visualization revenue was $760 million, up 56% year over year, was another record. Growth was driven by DGX Spark, the world's smallest AI supercomputer, built on a small configuration of Grace Blackwell. Automotive revenue was $592 million, up 32% year over year, primarily driven by self-driving solutions. We are partnering with Uber to scale the world's largest Level 4 ready autonomous fleet, built on the new NVIDIA Hyperion L4 robotaxi reference architecture. Moving to the rest of the P&L, GAAP gross margins were 73.4% and non-GAAP gross margins was 73.6%, exceeding our outlook. Gross margins increased sequentially due to our data center mix, improved cycle time, and cost structure. GAAP operating expenses were up 8% sequentially and up 11% on non-GAAP basis. The growth was driven by infrastructure compute, as well as higher compensation and benefits in engineering development costs. Non-GAAP effective tax rate for the third quarter was just over 17%, higher than our guidance of 16.5% due to the strong US revenue. On our balance sheet, inventory grew 32% quarter over quarter, while supply commitments increased 63% sequentially. We are preparing for significant growth ahead and feel good about our ability to execute against our opportunity set. Okay, let me turn to the outlook for the fourth quarter. Total revenue is expected to be $65 billion, plus or minus 2%. At the midpoint, our outlook implies 14% sequential growth, driven by continued momentum in the Blackwell architecture. Consistent with last quarter, we are not assuming any data center compute revenue from China. GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be 74.8% and 75%, respectively, plus or minus 50 basis points. Looking ahead to fiscal year 2027, input costs are on the rise, but we are working to hold gross margins in the mid-70s. GAAP and non-GAAP operating expenses are expected to be approximately $6.7 billion and $5 billion, respectively. GAAP and non-GAAP other income and expenses are expected to be an income of approximately $500 million, excluding gains and losses from non-marketable and publicly held equity securities. GAAP and non-GAAP tax rates are expected to be 17%, plus or minus 1%, excluding any discrete items. At this time, let me turn the call over to Jensen for him to say a few words.
Thanks, Colette. There's been a lot of talk about an AI bubble. From our vantage point, we see something very different. As a reminder, NVIDIA is unlike any other accelerator. We excel at every phase of AI, from pre-training and post-training to inference. And with our 2-decade investment in CUDA-X acceleration libraries, we are also exceptional at science and engineering simulations, computer graphics, structured data processing, to classical machine learning. The world is undergoing 3 massive platform shifts at once. The first time since the dawn of Moore's Law. NVIDIA is uniquely addressing each of the 3 transformations. The first transition is from CPU general purpose computing to GPU accelerated computing, as Moore's Law slows. The world has a massive investment in non-AI software, from data processing to science and engineering simulations, representing hundreds of billions of dollars in cloud computing spend each year. Many of these applications, which ran once exclusively on CPUs, are now rapidly shifting to CUDA GPUs. Accelerated computing has reached a tipping point. Secondly, AI has also reached a tipping point and is transforming existing applications while enabling entirely new ones. For existing applications, generative AI is replacing classical machine learning in search ranking, recommender systems, ad targeting, click-through prediction, to content moderation, the very foundations of hyperscale infrastructure. Meta's GEM, a foundation model for ad recommendations trained on large-scale GPU clusters, exemplifies this shift. In Q2, Meta reported over a 5% increase in ad conversions on Instagram and 3% gain on Facebook feed, driven by generative AI-based GEM. Transitioning to generative AI represents substantial revenue gains for hyperscalers. Is Meta going up on that? Now a new wave is rising. Agentic AI systems, capable of reasoning, planning, and using tools. From coding assistants like Cursor and Quad Code to radiology tools like iDoc, legal assistants like Harvey, and AI chauffeurs like Tesla FSD and Waymo. These systems mark the next frontier of computing. The fastest growing companies in the world today, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, Google, Cursor, Lovable, Replit, Cognition AI, Open Evidence, Abridged, Tesla, are pioneering agentic AI. So there are three massive platform shifts. The transition to accelerated computing is foundational and necessary, essential in a post-Moore's Law era. The transition to generative AI is transformational and necessary, supercharging existing applications and business models. And the transition to agentic and physical AI will be revolutionary, giving rise to new applications, companies, products, and services. As you consider infrastructure investments, consider these three fundamental dynamics. Each will contribute to infrastructure growth in the coming years. NVIDIA is chosen because our singular architecture enables all three transitions, and does so for any form and modality of AI, across all industries, across every phase of AI, across all of the diverse computing needs in a cloud, and also from cloud to enterprise to robots. One architecture. Toshiya, back to you.
We will now open the call for questions. Operator, would you please poll for questions?
Thank you. At this time, I would like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. As a reminder, please limit yourself to one question. Thank you. Your first question comes from Joseph Moore with Morgan Stanley. Your line is open.
Great, thank you. I wonder if you could update us. You talked about the $500 billion of revenue for Blackwell plus Rubin in 25 and 26 at GTC. At that time, you had talked about 150 billion of that already having been shipped. So as the quarter's wrapped up, are those still kind of the general parameters that there's 350 billion in the next kind of 14 months or so? And I would assume over that time you haven't seen all the demand that there is. There's any possibility of upside to those numbers as we move forward?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I'll start first with a response here on that. Yes, that's correct. We are working into our 500 billion forecast, and we are on track for that as we have finished some of the quarters, and now we have several quarters now in front of us to take us through the end of calendar year 26. The number will grow, and we will achieve, I'm sure, additional needs for compute that will be shippable by fiscal year 26. So we shipped 50 billion this quarter, but we would be not finished if we didn't say that we'll probably be taking more orders. For example, just even today, our announcements with KSA, and that agreement in itself is 400 to 600,000 more GPUs over 3 years. Anthropic is also net new. So there's definitely an opportunity for us to have more on top of the 500 billion that we announced.
But that's for both, eh? So that's Blackwell and
The next
Rubin.
question comes from CJ Muse with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the question. There's clearly a great deal of consternation around the magnitude of AI infrastructure buildouts and the ability to fund such plans and the ROI. Yet, at the same time, you're talking about being sold out. Every stood up GP is taken. The AI world hasn't seen the enormous benefit yet, from B300, never mind Rubin, and Gemini 3 just announced Grok 5 coming soon. And so the question is this: when you look at that as the backdrop, do you see a realistic path for supply to catch up with demand over the next 12 to 18 months, or do you think it can extend beyond that time frame?
Well, as you know, we've done a really good job planning our supply chain. NVIDIA's supply chain basically includes every technology company in the world. And TSMC and their packaging and our memory vendors and memory partners and all of our system ODMs have done a really good job planning with us. And we were planning for a big year. we've seen for some time the three transitions that I spoke about just a second ago: accelerated computing from general purpose computing. And it's really important to recognize that AI is not just agentic AI, but generative AI is transforming the way that hyperscalers did the work that they used to do on CPUs. Generative AI made it possible for them to move search and recommender systems and, add recommendations and targeting. All of that has been moved to generative AI, and it's still transitioning. And so whether you installed NVIDIA GPUs for data processing, or you did it for generative AI for your recommender system, or you're building it for agentic chatbots and the type of AIs that most people see when they think about AI, all of those applications are accelerated by NVIDIA. And so when you look at the totality of the spend, it's really important to think about each one of those layers. They're all growing. They're related, but not the same. But the wonderful thing is that they all run on NVIDIA GPUs. Simultaneously, because the quality of the AI models are improving so incredibly, the adoption of it in the different use cases, whether it's in code assistance, which NVIDIA uses fairly exhaustively, and we're not the only one. I mean, the fastest growing application in history, combination of Cursor and Claude Code and OpenAI's Codex and GitHub Copilot. These applications are the fastest growing in history. And it's not just used for software engineers, it's used because of vibe coding, it's used by engineers and marketeers all over companies, supply chain planners all over companies. And so I think that that's just one example, and the list goes on, whether it's open evidence and the work that they do in healthcare, or the work that's being done in digital video editing, Runway. And I mean, the number of really, really exciting startups that are taking advantage of generative AI and agentic AI is growing quite rapidly. And not to mention, we're all using it a lot more. And so all of these exponentials, not to mention, just today I was reading a text from Demis, and he was saying that pre-training and post-training are fully intact, and Gemini 3 takes advantage of the scaling laws and received a huge jump in quality performance, model performance. And so we're seeing all of these exponentials kind of running at the same time.
Use the revenue.
And just always go back to first principles and think about what's happening from each one of the dynamics that I mentioned before. General purpose computing to accelerated computing, generative AI replacing classical machine learning, and of course, agentic AI, which is a brand new category.
The next question comes from Vivek Arya with Bank of America Securities. Your line is open.
Thanks for taking my question. I'm curious, what assumptions are you making on NVIDIA content per gigawatt in that 500 billion number? Because we have heard numbers as low as 25 billion per gigawatt of content to as high as 30 or 40 billion per gigawatt. So I'm curious what power and what dollar per gigawatt assumptions you are making as part of that 500 billion number. And then longer term, Jensen, the 3 to 4 trillion in data center by 2030 was mentioned. How much of that do you think will require vendor financing, and how much of that can be supported by cash flows of your large customers or governments or enterprises? Thank you.
In each generation, from Ampere to Hopper, from Hopper to Blackwell, Blackwell to Rubin, our part of the data center increases, and Hopper generation was probably something along the lines of 20 to 25. Blackwell generation, Grace Blackwell particularly, is probably 30, say 30 plus or minus, and then Rubin is probably higher than that. And in each one of these generations, the speed up is X factors, and therefore their TCO, the customer TCO, improves by X factors. And the most important thing is, in the end, you still only have 1 gigawatt of power. 1 gigawatt data centers, 1 gigawatt of power. And therefore, performance per watt, the efficiency of your architecture is incredibly important. And the efficiency of your architecture can't be brute forced. There is no brute forcing about it. That 1 gigawatt translates directly, your performance per watt translates directly, absolutely directly to your revenues.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why choosing the right architecture matters so much now. You know, the world doesn't have an excess of anything to squander.
So what does that mean by NVIDIA?
So we have to be really, really, you know, we use this concept called co-design across our entire stack, across the frameworks and models, across the entire data center, even power and cooling optimized across the entire supply chain in our ecosystem. And so each generation, our economic contribution will be greater, our value delivered will be greater, but the most important thing is our energy efficiency per watt is going to be extraordinary every single generation. With respect to growing into continuing to grow, our customers financing is up to them. We see the opportunity to grow for quite some time. And remember, you know, today most of the focus has been on the hyperscalers. And one of the areas that is really misunderstood about the hyperscalers is that the investment on NVIDIA GPUs not only improves their scale, speed, and cost from general purpose computing. That's number one, because Moore's law scaling has really slowed. Moore's law is about driving costs down. It's about deflationary cost, the incredible deflationary cost of computing over time, but that has slowed. Therefore, a new approach is necessary for them to keep driving the cost down. Going to NVIDIA GPU computing is really the best way to do so. The second is revenue boosting in their current business models. You know, recommender systems drive the world's hyperscalers. Every single, whether it's, you know, watching short form videos or recommending books or recommending the next item in your basket, to recommending ads, to recommending news, it's all about recommenders. The internet has trillions of pieces of content. How could they possibly figure out what to put in front of you in your little tiny screen unless they have really sophisticated recommender systems to do so? Well, that has gone generative AI. So the first two things that I just said, hundreds of billions of dollars of CapEx is going to have to be invested, is fully cash flow funded. What is above it, therefore, is agentic AI. This is revenue, is net new consumption, but it's also net new applications. And some of the applications I mentioned before, but these new applications are also the fastest growing applications in history. Okay, so I think that you're going to see that once people start to appreciate what is actually happening under the water, if you will, from the simplistic view of what's happening to CapEx investment, recognizing there's these three dynamics. And then lastly, remember, we were just talking about the American CSPs. Each country will fund their own infrastructure. And you have multiple countries, you have multiple industries. Most of the world's industries haven't really engaged agentic AI yet, and they're about to. You know, all the names of companies that we're working with, you know, whether it's autonomous vehicle companies or digital twins for physical AI for factories, and the number of factories and warehouses being built around the world.
Market data connection lost.
Just the number of digital biology startups that are being funded so that we could accelerate drug discovery.
Market data connection
All
reestablished.
of those different industries are now getting engaged, and they're going to do their own fundraising. And so don't just look at the hyperscalers as a way to build out for the future. You got to look at the world. You got to look at all the different industries, and you know, enterprise computing is going to fund their own industry.
The next question comes from Ben Reitzes with Melius. Your line is open.
Hey, thanks a lot. Jensen, I wanted to ask you about cash. You know, speaking of $500 billion, you may generate about $500 billion in free cash flow over the next couple of years. What are your plans for that cash? How much goes to buyback versus investing in the ecosystem? And how do you look at investing in the
there was no
ecosystem?
buyback
I think
mentioned.
there's just a lot of confusion out there about how these deals work and your criteria for doing those, like the Anthropic, the OpenAIs, et cetera. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, appreciate the question. Of course, using cash to fund our growth. No company has ever grown at the scale that we're talking about and have the connection and the depth and the breadth of supply chain that NVIDIA has. The reason why our entire customer base can rely on us is because we've secured a really resilient supply chain, and we have the balance sheet to support them. When we make purchases, our suppliers can take it to the bank. When we make forecasts and we plan with them, they take us seriously because of our balance sheet. We're not making up the offtake. We know what our offtake is, and because they've been planning with us for so many years, our reputation and our credibility is incredible. And so it takes really strong balance sheet to do that, to support the level of growth and the rate of growth and the magnitude associated with that. So that's number one. The second thing, of course, we're going to continue to do stock buybacks. We're going to continue to do that. But with respect to the investments, this is really, really important work that we do. All of the investments that we've done so far, well, all the way, period, is associated with expanding the reach of CUDA, expanding the ecosystem. If you look at the work, the investments that we did with OpenAI, it's, of course, that relationship we've had since 2016. I delivered the first AI supercomputer ever made to OpenAI. And so we've had a close and wonderful relationship with OpenAI since then. And everything that OpenAI does runs on NVIDIA today. So all the clouds that they deploy in, whether it's training and inference, runs NVIDIA, and we love working with them. The partnership that we have with them is one so that we could work even deeper from a technical perspective, so that we could support their accelerated growth. This is a company that's growing incredibly fast, and don't just look at what is said in the press. Look at all the ecosystem partners and all the developers that are connected to OpenAI, and they're all driving consumption of it. And the quality of the AI that's being produced, huge step up since a year ago. And so the quality of response is extraordinary. So we invest in OpenAI for a deep partnership in co-development to expand our ecosystem and to support their growth. And of course, rather than giving up a share of our company, we get a share of their company. And we invested in them in one of the most consequential once-in-a-generation company that we have a share of. And so I fully expect that investment to translate to extraordinary returns. Now, in the case of Anthropic, this is the first time that Anthropic will be on NVIDIA's architecture. The first time Anthropic will be on NVIDIA's architecture. It is the second most successful AI in the world in terms of total number of users. But in enterprise, they're doing incredibly well. Claude Code is doing incredibly well. Claude is doing incredibly well all of the world's enterprise. And now we have the opportunity to have a deep partnership with them and bringing Claude onto the NVIDIA platform. And so what do we have now? NVIDIA's architecture, taking a step back, NVIDIA's architecture, NVIDIA's platform is the singular platform in the world that runs every AI model. We run OpenAI, we run Anthropic, we run xAI. Because of our deep partnership with Elon and xAI, we were able to bring that opportunity to Saudi Arabia, to the KSA, so that Humane could also be a hosting opportunity for xAI. We run xAI, we run Gemini, we run thinking machines. Let's see, what else do we run? We run them all. And so not to mention, we run the science models, the biology models, DNA models, gene models, chemical models, and all the different fields around the world. It's not just cognitive AI that the world uses. AI is impacting every single industry. And so we have the ability through the ecosystem investments that we make to deeply partner on a technical basis with some of the best companies, most brilliant companies in the world. We're expanding the reach of our ecosystem, and we're getting a share and investment in what will be a very successful company, oftentimes once in a generation company. And so that's our investment thesis.
Fair.
The next question
Makes sense.
comes from Jim Schneider with Goldman Sachs. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. In the past, you've talked about roughly 40% of your shipments tied to AI inference. I'm wondering, as you look forward into next year, where do you expect that percentage could go in say, a year's time? And can we maybe address the Rubin CPX product you expect to introduce next year and contextualize that? How big of the overall TAM you expect that can take, and maybe talk about some of the target customer applications for that specific product? Thank you.
CPX is designed for long context type of workload generation. And so long context, basically, before you start generating answers, you have to read a lot, basically, long context. And it could be a bunch of PDFs, it could be watching a bunch of videos, studying 3D images, so on and so forth. You have to absorb the context. And so CPX is designed for long context type of workloads. And its perf per dollar is excellent. Its perf per watt is excellent. And which made me forget the first part of the question.
Inferencing.
Oh, inference. Yeah, there are 3 scaling laws that are scaling at the same time. The first scaling law, called pre-training, continues to be very effective. And the second is post-training. Post-training basically has found incredible algorithms for improving an AI's ability to break a problem down and solve a problem step by step. And post-training is scaling exponentially. Basically, the more compute you apply to a model, the smarter it is, the more intelligent it is. And then the third is inference. Inference, because of chain of thought, because of reasoning capabilities, AIs are essentially reading, thinking before it answers. And the amount of computation necessary as a result of those 3 things has gone completely exponential. I think that it's hard to know exactly what the percentage will be at any given point in time and who. But of course, our hope is that inference is a very large part of the market, because if inference is large, then what it suggests is that people are using it in more applications, and they're using it more frequently. And that's, we should all hope for inference to be very large. And this is where Grace Blackwell is just an order of magnitude better, more advanced than anything in the world. The second best platform is H200. And it's very clear now that GB200, GB300, because of NVLink 72, the scale-up network that we have, achieve, and you saw, and Colette talked about in the semi-analysis benchmark, it's the largest single inference benchmark ever done. And GB200, NVLink 72, is 10 to 15 times higher performance. And so that's a big step up. It's going to take a long time before somebody is able to take that on. And our leadership there is surely multi-year. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that inference becomes a very big deal. Our leadership in inference is extraordinary.
The next question comes from Timothy Arcuri with UBS. Your line is open.
Thanks a lot. Jensen, many of your customers are pursuing behind-the-meter power, but what's the single biggest bottleneck that worries you that could constrain your growth? Is it power, or maybe it's financing, or maybe it's something else like memory or even foundry? Thanks a lot.
It's a good
question. These are all issues, and they're all constraints. And the reason for that, when you're growing at the rate that we are and the scale that we are, how could anything be easy? What NVIDIA is doing obviously has never been done before. And we've created a whole new industry. On the one hand, we are transitioning computing from general purpose and classical or traditional computing to accelerated computing and AI. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we created a whole new industry called AI factories. The idea that in order for software to run, you need these factories to generate every single token instead of retrieving information that was pre-created. And so I think this whole transition requires extraordinary scale. And all the way from the supply chain, of course, the supply chain, we have much better visibility and control over it because, obviously we're incredibly good at managing our supply chain. We have great partners that we worked with for 33 years.
It's probably energy.
So the supply chain part of it, we're quite confident. Now, looking down our supply chain, we've now established partnerships with so many players in land and power and shell, and of course financing. These things, none of these things are easy, but they're all tractable and they're all solvable things. And the most important thing that we have to do is do a good job planning. We plan up the supply chain, down the supply chain. We've established a whole lot of partners, and so we have a lot of routes to market. And very importantly, our architecture has to deliver the best value to the customers that we have. And so at this point, I'm very confident that NVIDIA's architecture is the best performance per TCO. It is the best performance per watt, and therefore for any amount of energy that is delivered, our architecture will drive the most revenues. And I think the increasing rate of our success, I think that we're more successful this year at this point than we were last year at this point. The number of customers coming to us and the number of platforms coming to us after they've explored others is increasing, not decreasing. And so I think I think all of that is just, all the things that I've been telling you over the years are really coming true and or becoming evident.
So he's saying
the next question comes from Stacy Raskin with Bernstein Research. Your line is open.
Questions. Colette, I had some questions on margins. You said for next year you're working to hold them in the mid-70s. So I guess, first of all, what are the biggest cost increases? Is it just memory or is it something else? What are you doing to work toward that? How much is cost optimizations versus pre-buys versus pricing? And then also, how should we think about OpEx growth next year, given the revenues seem likely to grow materially from where we're running right now?
Thanks, Stacey. Let me see if I can start with remembering where we were with the current fiscal year that we're in. Remember, earlier this year, we indicated that through cost improvements and mix that we would exit the year in our gross margins in the mid-70s. We've achieved that and getting ready to also execute that in Q4. So now it's time for us to communicate where are we working right now in terms of next year. Next year, there are input prices that are well known in the industries that we need to work through. And our systems are by no means very easy to work with. There are a tremendous amount of components, many different parts of it as we think about that. So we're taking all of that into account, but we do believe if we look at working again on cost improvements, cycle time, and mix, that we will work to try and hold at our gross margins in the mid-70s. So that's our overall plan for gross margin. Your second question is around OpEx. And right now, our goal in terms of OpEx is to really make sure that we are innovating with our engineering teams, with all of our business teams, to create more and more systems for this market. As you know, right now we have a new architecture coming out, and that means they are quite busy in order to meet that goal. And so we're going to continue to see our investments on innovating more and more, both our software, both our systems, and our hardware to do so. I'll turn it to Jensen if he wants to add in a couple more comments.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think the only thing that I would add is remember that we plan, we forecast, we plan, and we negotiate with our supply chain well in advance. Our supply chain have known for quite a long time our requirements, and they've known for quite a long time our demand, and we've been working with them and negotiating with them for quite a long time. And so I think the recent surge, obviously quite significant, but remember our supply chain has been working with us for a very long time, and so in many cases we've secured a lot of supply for ourselves, because obviously they're working with the largest company in the world in doing so, and we've also been working closely with them on the financial aspects of it, and securing forecasts and plans and so on and so forth. So I think all of that has worked out well for us.
Your final question comes from the line of Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Your line is open.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. Jensen, the question's for you. As you think about the Anthropic deal that was announced and just the overall breadth of your customers, I'm curious if your thoughts around the role that AI ASICs or dedicated XPUs play in these architecture build-outs that has changed at all. Have you seen, I think you've been fairly adamant in the past that some of these programs never really see deployments, but I'm curious if we're at a point where maybe that's even changed more in favor of just GPU architecture. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I really appreciate the question. So first of all, you're not competing against teams. You're against a company. You're competing against teams, and there just aren't that many teams in the world who are extraordinary at building these incredibly complicated things. Back in the Hopper day and the Ampere days, we would build one GPU. That's the definition of an accelerated AI system. But today, we've got to build entire racks, three different types of switches: a scale up, a scale out, and a scale across switch. And it takes a lot more than one chip to build a compute node anymore. Everything about that computing system, because AI needs to have memory, AI didn't used to have memory at all. Now it has to remember things. The amount of memory and context it has is gigantic. The memory architecture implication is incredible. The diversity of models, from mixture of experts to dense models to diffusion models to autoregressive, not to mention, biological models that obeys the laws of physics. The list of different types of models has exploded in the last several years. And so the challenge is the complexity of the problem is much higher. The diversity of AI models is incredibly large. And so this is where, if I will say the 5 things that makes us special, if you will. The first thing I would say that makes us special is that we accelerate every phase of that transition. That's the first phase. That CUDA allows us to have CUDA X for transitioning from general purpose to accelerated computing. We're incredibly good at generative AI. We're incredibly good at agentic AI. So every single phase of that, every single layer of that transition, we are excellent at. You can invest in one architecture, use it across the board. You can use one architecture and not worry about the changes in the workload across those 3 phases. That's number 1. Number 2, we're excellent at every phase of AI. Everybody's always known that we're incredibly good at pre-training. We're obviously very good at post-training, and we're incredibly good, as it turns out, at inference, because inference is really, really hard. How could thinking be easy? People think that inference is one shot and therefore it's easy. Anybody could approach the market that way, but it turns out to be the hardest of all, because thinking, as it turns out, is quite hard. We're great at every phase of AI, the second thing. The third thing is we're now the only architecture in the world that runs every AI model, every frontier AI model. We run open source AI models incredibly well. We run science models, biology models, robotics models. We run every single model. We're the only architecture in the world that can claim that. It doesn't matter whether you're autoregressive or diffusion-based. We run everything. And we run it for every major platform, as I just mentioned. So we run every model. And then the fourth thing I would say is that we're in every cloud. The reason why developers love us is because we're literally everywhere. We're in every cloud. We're in every, we could even make you a little tiny cloud called DGX Spark. And so we're in every computer. We're everywhere, from cloud to on-prem to robotic systems, edge devices, PCs, you name it. One architecture, things just work. It's incredible. And then the last thing, and this is probably the most important thing, the fifth thing, is if you are a cloud service provider, if you're a new company like Humane, if you're a new company like CoreWeave or Nscale or Nebius, or OCI for that matter, the reason why NVIDIA is the best platform for you is because our offtake is so diverse. We can help you with offtake. It's not about just putting a random ASIC into a data center. Where's the offtake coming from? Where's the diversity coming from? Where's the resilience coming from? The versatility of the architecture coming from, the diversity of capability coming from. NVIDIA has such incredibly good offtake because our ecosystem is so large. So these 5 things, every phase of acceleration and transition, every phase of AI, every model, every cloud to on-prem, and of course, finally, it all leads to offtake.
Thank you. I will now turn the call to Toshiya Hari for closing remarks.
In closing, please note we will be at the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference on December 2nd, and our earnings call to discuss the results of our fourth quarter of fiscal 2026 is scheduled for February 25th. Thank you for joining us today. Operator, please go ahead and close the call.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was fantastic. We kind of heard some of the same things over and over again, which is just the Jensen story. He's getting really good at telling it now. But what we're seeing is NVIDIA continuing to dominate in the semiconductor space. But not only that, in just like the AI build out. They're not only making the chips, they're making the Ethernet cables all the way to freaking even the most basic things. So they will continue to dominate. They will continue to dominate. I mean, we're seeing it here, right? So the AI story, we continue to see spending in the sector. I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time for the hyperscalers to potentially see some profits or potentially major profits here. But it was interesting, a couple of the points that they talked about, which was that at the beginning, it was based on the AI infrastructure spending, which was with cash flows, right? But now that we're going into agentic and we're going into the workforce and what these models can actually do, the companies are starting to increase production to then start analyzing those sort of avenues, right? Again, we're going into sort of the thinking aspect or the context aspect of AI, right? Like one of the important questions I asked ChatGPT this week was, how many tokens do you remember of a conversation, basically, right? And it's around 200,000 tokens, right? Which for normal usage is around a week of communication, just to give you an idea, right? Now, if we want sort of more context, we're going to have to 10, 20, 50x those token amounts, right? So we're going to have to see more and more spending. And NVIDIA is right in the sense of right now the constraints are in energy and land and infrastructure, right? So it's like you're trying to use the most advanced chips in that infrastructure they currently hold, and that's the reason NVIDIA continues to be ahead, and their sales continue to be extraordinary. They said that Blackwell and Rubin will potentially sell 350 billion in addition in the next year or so, and that's likely to go up as more deals start coming up. We have deals with Palantir, Anthropic, and potentially all of the other hyperscalers as well. The financing is interesting because he answered the question that we are going to offer some financing ways because we have those connections, but we're also open to having the financing be done by whoever they need them to be. and companies are finding their own ways to kind of finance this, right? You have AWS asking for a bond on the markets, I believe today or yesterday. So we are seeing a risk appetite for this. Again, NVIDIA, amazing earnings. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave a comment or leave them in the comments or on Etoro. Check out my portfolio down below, and you can just tag me, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Sorry for those people that I didn't answer to, because I saw a bunch of comments and I answered to as many as I could yesterday. I'll try to catch up with all of the rest of the comments. Sorry, we're new to YouTube. We're trying to get it, even though it's it's a 1 year anniversary already. We've been making videos on Market Buzz for a year already. So thank you guys. We hit 500 subscribers. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the portfolios down below. And don't forget to check out Timothy's course. It's free for Market Buzz people. Altcoins, if you're looking to trade them, invest them. And remember that tomorrow we're going live with, I actually don't know who's coming in the episode tomorrow. I know I'm going to be there. 1:30 UK time or an hour before market open. I'm going to try to get Adrian in the episode as well, because that'll be fire. Because I think he's bearish on crypto, and I want to get that perspective too. Yeah, market seems to like this. Market seems to like this right now. Tech's up. I mean, we can't complain. Hopefully tomorrow this continues to be this. It's fantastic. I can't complain. Hopefully this continues. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody. You guys have been great. This was a great result. We live another day to find in markets. No crash yet. No crash yet. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. Ah! Man, it's crazy. Markets are crazy. Markets are crazy. You hear me here? Go here. Come here. Come here. Markets are crazy. All right. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Peace.